Christine, remember when you were a kid and you thought that your career was going to be this like perfect straight line trajectory?
Oh my, yes. That is not at all what happened. It ended up being way more of a squiggle than I could have ever imagined. And I am so happy that I embraced all of the squiggles along the way. Welcome back to Embrace the Squiggle. We are Christine.
And Colleen.
And we are joined today by the ever so lovely Christine Coughlin. Look at me, I'm stumbling over my own name. She is the founder of YVR Creatives, a very vibrant, because I've had the opportunity to be a part of her community. And she owns also a content agency that offers memberships, events, and content creation experiences for women in business to find an aligned, impactful community while growing their brands. After spending a decade as a stay-at-home mom, she rediscovered her voice online, and what began as a personal blog about motherhood and identity evolved into a thriving network of female entrepreneurs in the Greater Vancouver area. Christine, thank you for taking time out of what I now understand is a jam-packed world that you are living. So I really appreciate you taking 45 minutes to join us today and share your story, whatever comes alive in our conversation.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're most welcome. We will start with our traditional question.
Right.
When you were little Christine,
Yes.
What did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
I didn't know, and that was terrifying. I just knew that I wanted to be married and I wanted to be a mother. That was without a doubt, that needed to happen. And I was very, very stressed out that I did not know. I almost didn't go to the last few days. I didn't go to the last few days of high school because I was so scared of the next step. So that is.
And so did you, you walked across the stage?
I graduated.
Graduated.
I had a really great teacher that was like, "What are you doing? Why are you hiding from this?" And thank goodness. And I was just like, I'm so scared. I don't know what I want to be. How does an 18-year-old decide their entire life? I was just so in my head. I didn't have the supports that were asking me the right questions and to help me realize that this is what was happening. Is I just had this fear response of I'm not going forward anymore. It was just total fear. All I wanted was to be a mother and a wife. And I knew that I liked, I always was I was in journalism in school and I was always on the yearbook committee. And I know that I was always doing photos and this kind of thing, but I didn't have any way or any support to put the pieces together and what that meant. I was actually at my mother's house years later, probably, fast forward 20 years from there. And I found this letter that I had written, and it was literally every one of my fears just written out. How do I go to university? What do I do there? All of these things, but nobody actually read the letter and was like, let me talk to you about this. Let me help you through this. So I actually read it. I was like, I was a really good writer, even when I was a scared 18-year-old. So it's so funny how all the pieces have now fallen into place to put me where I am now.
Yeah, I love that. There's so much. And I know in just the last couple of years, I've been able to thread so much back and see how the squiggles are all tied together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really beautiful it's so clear when you look back on it, but when you're in it, it's terrifying.
Oh my God. Oh no, you're just I'm making a decision. I have no idea why, but let's just march in this direction. Totally. And now it's oh wait, there's this invisible thread through everything, which is so magical.
Yes.
Okay, so graduated from high school. Talk to us just high level.
Yeah. So
college, uni. What was that kind of next little chapter?
Graduated from high school, was 19, was working at a grocery store kind of thing, and just living in a small town and just partying and doing the things that scared 18-year-olds do. And then I was like, okay, this is enough of this. I'm not connected here in any way. I need to go figure out what's next. Ended up moving to Banff, working in Banff for about 9 months. Because I wanted to get away from partying. You do not go to Banff to get away from partying. So again, I was there exactly. It's a resort town. So I was a fish out of water there because I was no, I'm not doing that anymore. But I found my job at a high-end retailer, And then from there, I moved back to their head office, and I worked there for 12 years. So in this head office, I started as an admin on the sales floor, then the admin assistant, and I worked my way up to director of operations. I was doing all their marketing. I was doing the photography. I was doing all of the things again, like their newsletter, their little cookbooks, like all of that kind of visual graphics. And went to school at that point. They actually paid for me to go, and I did PR and marketing communications. So that's when the pieces started kind of like clicking into place. And then from there, had a baby and was like, I need to do part-time. I want to be more available. And after that, I had been there for so long at this company that I, again, didn't know what to do with my life if I couldn't be there. Wanted to be a mother full time if I could. And yeah, so that took me to my blog called The In-Between, where I blogged and I was like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, I am now a mother, but also there's a piece missing. Like, what now? And so in the blogging and putting myself out there, I met all of these amazing entrepreneurs who were just so passionate. Like, those were my ladies. Like, I just love the energy of an entrepreneur. And so very quickly that community was like bang, bang, bang. And we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary on November 10th. So it's been like, and I've never felt more aligned and more like every single thing has led me here. And I'm so grateful.
That's okay. So back up here.
Yeah.
What are you celebrating on November 10th?
2 years of YVR Creatives.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Oh my God. That's amazing. Congratulations. Yes. Because you and I are part of a community. So I wasn't quite sure if there was something else that was tied in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's just a baby.
It's just a baby, but it feels like it's been here forever, doesn't it?
Well, you know what's so funny? I was just listening to your story, and like, how many hours and things have I like engaged with you? And I know, because my life is about career, I never ask people about like their backgrounds, because I'm like, I don't want to engage in a career conversation.
I love career conversations. That's why I have YVR Creatives.
I know. And so I'm just like, I don't want to talk about careers at this event. And so then it's like, oh my God, had no idea that you're a director of operations.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, so baby YVR Creatives, and I've been so honored to be a part of it. I'm not part of membership, and there's a reason why on that. It's because my ass isn't in Vancouver very much for the next little while. So I'm like, don't spend money on something you're not.
Okay, so wait. So Christine, you know what YVR Creatives is, but I don't. Yeah. I mean, I know the basics from what I've seen online, but our listeners don't. So talk us through like what it is. What do you do? Right, that whole piece. And I also, as a women entrepreneur who's very engaged in a bunch of other like women entrepreneur movements here in the States, I'd love to hear like why that group?
It's the group that I needed. So again, I was blogging, I was doing the in-between, and I was showing up a lot on Instagram and sharing my story. And my regular life people were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I was like, I really had this understanding that if I was known on the internet, if I had this community on the internet, when I figured out what I was doing, I would have somebody to offer it to. So it really was about building that like, no trust before I even knew what I was doing. I was selling myself. I was just putting myself out there. And so it was putting myself out there, meeting all these ladies, and them just being so passionate. So YVR Creatives it's networking events, social events, it's content creation events, because no matter how good you are at it, we all need content. You know, we need to be marketing our businesses and our passions. So it's helping the ladies both do that and get comfortable doing that. So we do group content creation events. That's Christine came to our first, it was a content cruise. We cruised around Stanley Park in golf carts. It was really fun. And then I have membership. So it's where we can go deeper with the ladies.
I loved the idea of the content creation event. I've never seen one here where I live. Like I feel like that's such a unique piece.
Yes. And that was the very first thing we ever did. That was the start of it.
And like such a needed thing, like you said, right? We all need this like list of what do we throw out there.
Yes.
And to me, as a solo-ishpreneur at this point, I have some people who work for me, but as like you're growing your business, that's the hardest part as an entrepreneur. right?
Yeah.
You're all alone in this and you need that person to banter with, to have those
Yes.
conversations, to get those ideas from. And, I think it's a brilliant idea.
And it really was. Thank you. It did come out of my own need because I was trying to find content for this blog and I have very high standards. So I didn't want awful images. I wanted them to be beautiful. So it was really like, I need this. Let's get a group together and go do this. And the response was just everybody wanted it.
And the other piece too that I hear at these events is that everybody is in the same boat in terms of putting themselves out there. Like there's fear and there's cringe and there's what will people like, and well, there's already 1,800 people doing the same thing. What is it, what's going to set me apart? And so I'm curious because you also offer like the one-on-one piece. Like we're kind of talking about more of the group stuff, but the one-on-one piece. And so I'm curious to know a little bit more about your process in terms of, because I see your content and how you pull it out of your clients. Mm-hmm. And I've worked with you a little bit on the content cruise. Yes. And so I you were obviously sharing your time with however many of us. There was eight or so of us there that night. So when you're working one-on-one, how do you go deeper?
So first of all, I do a deep dive on your Instagram to see what you're putting out there. I go through your website. We have a strategy call. So I figure out what your goals are with your content, where you're struggling. And then we get into it on the day. So I'll go and I'll make a whole shot list of where I think where we should go with your content. But like my favorite ladies are the ones who are like, I'm terrified. I don't talk on camera. I'm like, I'll get you talking. I don't know. I know how hard it is. So I can relate and I can be like, these are the things that help me show up, even though it feels so terrible in my body. It is a muscle that needs to be worked and it just gets easier. I used to not be able to, like, if my husband was on the same floor as me, I couldn't talk to the phone. I was like, this is so awful. And now I whip the thing out anywhere. I don't care. So it really is a muscle, and it's just helping the ladies get comfortable and getting them to feel like they're talking to me and not a camera. That is a huge part of it. Just really being compassionate for how hard it is and reminding them, like, not everybody does this because it's hard. So you're already that much further ahead. Even if this time you don't post all of the videos because you just are too critical of yourself, you're still stretching that muscle. You're still working that muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I find that it really plays, there's a psychological piece to it. Like 1 week, I can look at something and be like, no way, I can't post that. And then I look at it a week later and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I post it and then it ends up doing really well.
Yeah.
And it's like, it depends on the mindset. And so now when I look at something, I've learned this about myself, where I look at something and if I have that mindset, I'm like, just either throw it up or come back to it.
Just wait a minute. Yeah.
Just wait.
I totally agree.
I
know, like, we're all our worst enemy, right? So I know for myself, I look at pictures of myself and I'm like, you are hideous. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, why aren't you so young and beautiful like you were 2 weeks ago? So you just, again, just like leave it in the drafts for a minute, come back when you're looking back in the past, and then you romanticize yourself and you're like, oh, you were so much better then. Why are you so terrible now?
That happens on a regular basis. And I'll throw a selfie up like 10 days or 2 weeks later that I took, and it'll be the most engaged piece.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks ago, there was no way that I was going there.
You're too attached to it emotionally. You need to just remove yourself a minute.
Oh, so much. Do you think that entrepreneurs, sorry, Colleen, do you think entrepreneurs in this day and age can get away with not having an online?
It's a pet. No, I don't.
Footprint.
No, you need to have something. I mean, there's some different ways to do it, but you need to have some kind of presence. Not everybody, we've talked about this, Christine, like my group of ladies are more on the Instagram because we're more in the creative fields. But then there's, you need to have something. So when I meet you at an event, I'm going to go and check you out immediately. If I'm interested in you, I'm going to be like, what is she all about? I'm going to go straight to your feed. And that is your like billboard of like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. So I don't believe that you cannot do it.
No.
And if you have a big company where you're not the face of the brand and you sell that brand, you still need to have your own personal brand that says like, I am, Christine Coughlin, and this is who I am outside of this company. With AI, you need to be known. You need to know that I am a real human with real skin texture, and this is me.
And also because you have no idea what's going to happen in the future, right? Like,
yes.
We've seen many CEOs get booted out of their own companies. And right, if you have never put any effort into your own branding and your own who am I,
then you're left with nothing.
It's a huge blow.
Yes.
So I'd love to go back to when you decided to be an entrepreneur, right? Because I know both Christine and I hear this from a lot of our coaching clients, right? When they come and they're like, I'm ready to quit corporate, right? I'm ready to quit whatever. And I just want to be, I get often, I want to be an entrepreneur like you. And they somehow
don't do it.
Well, I think somehow people get in their mind that entrepreneurs are like working half time, right? Because right, it's the opposite. So
all the time,
and I think for yourself, as you were talking in the beginning about how, right, wanting to have time for your child and be engaged with them, how does entrepreneurship work for you that way? Because it can be a really tricky balance, right? You, as an entrepreneur, you could work 20 hours a day or you could work 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
They're going to be completely different businesses.
It is very tricky. I struggle with it very much. I am so passionate about this business. And I have ADHD. I could be in this business every hour of the day. I don't even need to eat often. Like I'm just like so into it. So that is something that I struggle with. I'm just trying to be like finding the balance. And I have mentors that I work with that help me keep my priorities in check. And I'm very honest with myself in that I want to stay in integrity because I want to be a good example for my community, that we don't have to burn ourselves out. So that's not to say I'm perfect at this. That when I do get off track, I try to catch myself and pull it back. When I first started, it was just, I put it in like hobby category. And it was like, I needed this to like have that outlet. I needed permission to like have this creative outlet. But since it's now we are a business as of 2 years ago, it's a work in progress. I don't even have there's no straight line. It's just like this.
Yeah.
I love how you brought up the hobby category because this was a conversation I actually had with a coaching client just this week, who said, they've been paying 2 other people on their team to do work for them. So they had someone marketing, like pub PR marketing kind of person, and a virtual assistant. And so at this point I said, we're in November or December when this drops, right? And I said, so like, how much have you made this year? And she had paid herself, drum roll please, $1,500 this year, back in January. Right. And I said, that's when I said to her, like, this is not a business. This is like, I mean, yes, I get legally it's a business, but this is not employment for you. It's a hobby. Yes. Right. And having to make that decision, if you decide you want this to be what's going to sustain you, right now, there's a different vision. And I think that's where it's so important to engage someone like yourself for marketing and PR and all of those pieces, because you can't do it all alone. Like there's no way. I get that there are solopreneurs in the world, but you are never going to be I guess not never. Okay, I'll couch that. You're probably not going to be a super successful growing business if you don't engage with other people.
Yes, I would agree.
Well, it's knowing your strengths too, Colleen. You and I have talked about this 1,000,001 times, right? It's knowing your strengths and budgeting for the things like that you're not good at, or that are not at you're not as interested, or whatever. But the thing about content creation that I think, I'm just going to name this, because some days it's not fun. And that's when I back away. When I'm just like feeling like I have to check check the box of getting something out there. And I call it poking the algorithm personally. I'm like, I'm just going to fucking poke the algorithm. I don't even give a shit what I throw up there. And then it ends up being like 100. Like I threw something up on Friday and I got 100 views on my stories, which was actually quite high for the last little while. And I was like, really? That's what all of you gravitated towards? I was like, okay. I feel like a lot of people don't look at it through the lens of just having fun. And there is so much fun to be had when it comes to
I was so jealous
creation.
when I saw your content creation day, right? The one that Christine did, because it
Oh my
just
God.
looked like
It was
so
fun.
much
It was
fun. I
so
was like,
great.
I literally started looking around here. I live in Massachusetts, right? Going, who does this around here? Like, is there anybody around here who is doing this?
You need
Oh my
YVR
God.
Creatives.
Oh my God. I know. Well, Christine, you're going to have to start taking it international because it was the most unique. It honestly was the most unique 3 or 4 hours, however long we were gone.
Yes.
You know, the other piece too, to like flip it to something that was not even part of the package. And that was experiencing the city in a completely different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and you know, you just look at the beauty that we call home through a completely different lens. I mean, then we couldn't have picked a more beautiful, gorgeous summer night.
I know.
But it was so unique. And I, of course, like couldn't stop telling people. I think we ended up at 2 or 3 events in the span of a week. And I was like, oh yeah, no, if she runs another one, like
I was like, I need to put you on a commission affiliate.
I know, 100%. I will absolutely I will tell everybody because it was just such a unique experience. Okay, I want to go back because you took time off and you were a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
And you then had 2 more children.
Yes.
You've got 3 littles. I call them littles.
They're pretty. They're little.
They're still little. Tell me about life at home.
Life at home. Okay, so I have an 8, 10, and 14-year-old.
So you're in the thick of the driving mom age, right? Where it's like they're involved in 900 things and they can't get there by themselves.
We don't do that. We don't prescribe to that. No, we have they're each in one thing, and that is what we do. Well, my littlest is in 2 things, but we don't do the all day nonstop thing. We have bought a beautiful home, and it's on a cul-de-sac, and we have an amazing neighborhood of kids, and they roam free, and they're in and out of everybody's houses, and it's like so free. It is so good. So yeah, we didn't do that whole all the sports all the time thing.
I have a sister that's right in the thick of that, of 400 sports for each child.
Well, I think sometimes even one sport, right? Like so many of these teams, they're like, oh, and we practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we have games on Saturday.
It's funny because my husband is actually an athletic guy, and our kids are just not athletic. So I was like, I'm not mad about it. We've tried to do the do you want to do hockey? Do you want to do this? And they're like, nope. So they're more like, we have one that's in coding, one that's in gymnastics, one that she does horseback riding. So that's as athletic as we get. And yeah.
Cool. What are your words of wisdom to the mothers that might be listening to this episode who have stepped away from corporate, have made the transition and are at home, and might be struggling with identity? Because I feel like that's a big topic with parents, with mothers. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, like that was their identity. They thought they were on this trajectory and they were, climbing the corporate ladder. We like to call it the corporate squiggle. But, what would be your words of wisdom to somebody who might be listening to this episode thinking about, who am I today?
Yeah, that was my issue, is I was like, who am I? I was somebody that was so used to being good at things she cared about, and then found herself in motherhood. And I was like, holy moly, I need more outside stimulation than this. And so I was very lost for a long time. And it was about giving myself permission to do things out of curiosity, not because they would necessarily financially bring me anything, but just because this is a part of who I am. So for me, that looked like creating content, creating birthday parties, creating events and that kind of thing. And I think for a while, I felt like it has to be a business because that's the only way that I'm allowed to explore these things outside of my home is if I can financially justify them. But now I look back and I wish I'd just given myself permission to just allow myself to be. I was so filled with self-doubt that I was almost ashamed of the ways that I expressed myself. And now I just want people to just go out there and explore them and do their thing and just let the curiosity lead.
And what was the turning point for you moving from that kind of, it's almost like moving into zero fucks. Like, I'm just going to be true to myself and whatever it looks like today, this is what I'm expressing.
The turning point was approaching 40. And I was like, I thought when I would reach 35, that women just come into their own and they're like confident and just like know all of the things. They're very worldly. And I was about to turn 40 and I was like, I don't feel like that at all. I still kind of feel like nobody likes me. And I'm still thinking like I started to feel like younger women were a threat to me. And I felt like my husband was like not really into me. And I was like, this is work that I need to do. So I got myself into therapy. That's when I started writing. Like the writing just like hit me like a ton of bricks where I was like, all these things inside of me, I needed to get them out. And I started writing. Therapy. I walked in the first day and I was like, I have all these thoughts. I don't know which ones to trust because they're all really shitty to me. And so again, started working with a coach. She was the one that was like, how do you express yourself? And I was like, I don't know. I guess I bake cakes and I throw parties and I garden and fashion and home decor. And all those things, I had felt such shame, like I was trying to show off to the whole world before that. And so it was her just being like, you're just expressing yourself. Who said you're showing off? And I was like, oh, well, I have this example of people thinking I'm a show off. She's like, and they matter because, so it was really a whole reprogramming of like, just giving myself permission to just show up in the world the way that I do. And knowing that may be offensive to some people, but that's not my business. So.
No, what is the quote? It's none of our business to know what other people think of us.
Yes. And that is so hard to embody that.
It is.
So much easier to say than do. But once you get there, oh God, it feels good on the other side.
Well, and I also think so often we think things and it's, how do we know they're true?
Totally.
Right? That was so often a conversation I had with my girls. They're both 21 now, but right when they were in middle school and high school and they would make a statement and I'd always say like, okay, so how do you know that's true? Mm-hmm. Right. Regardless of it, if someone liked them or what they did in something and, getting folks to really think about like, do I actually know this is true? Like, is there any truth behind this or is this just in my head? Right. Do I think that people don't actually like me or are jealous of me or that they think I'm boastful? Mm-hmm. Or do they actually think, wow, like she's killing it?
Yeah.
Right. Or I wish I was her. Right. How many people were probably jealous of you that you have no idea?
Yeah.
And I think we all go through life in that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think as women, we're trained to be people pleasers, right? So it's so much easier to just like dim yourself, just in case you might be offending somebody or just in case somebody might think you're a little too much. You just bring it down. Mm-hmm. And then you're just not helping anybody. So this whole last few years has just been like, just do you, just do it. Like, and do the attract and repel. Like if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. And you'll find your people.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if we have the listener that is thinking all of the things that all of us have thought about how, putting ourselves out there and creating a brand and, finding their voice and they're just like, no frickin' way. Mm-hmm. Where would you suggest they start?
Okay. So do they have a business idea or they're just like, I need a little more backstory here on this.
I'm totally making this up as we're talking. Or we could use me as an example as I come and go from the game.
Yes.
And I know why I do. I know I come and go from the game.
But you're in the game. You're in the game. So
I'm in the game.
So think about it, because I think of a lot of folks who listen to us are folks who are unsure about what they want to do next for their career.
Okay. So
right?
perfect.
So I think
so
it's these.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was 100% me. And like I said, if you are unsure, the best way to figure it out is to start following your curiosity and moving forward. And building a personal brand while you're doing this is super engaging. To get on a phone and say, like, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going right now, but these are the things I'm going to try. Come with me. I know it might be an awful failure. People are going to be like, oh, tell me more. Is it going to be an awful failure? Like, they're so curious. They're going to want to know. And then when you figure out what your thing is, they're so invested in your story. It's just storytelling. It's just connecting through stories. So this is me. And we always think like, oh, I'm just like a middle-aged mom of 3. Nobody gives a crap what I think. But they do, because there's a lot of middle-aged moms of 3 out there that are like, what am I doing with my life? So if you have the balls to get on your phone and be like, hey, I might fuck this all up, but I'm going to try anyway. They are going to lean in. And that's what you want. You want people to lean in when you show up.
Well, and the world is, especially women, are craving community and connection probably more than ever in this day and age as well. There's so many, even just in Vancouver, there's so many little pockets of communities and groups and memberships that people are creating that, it actually, to be honest, it just blows my mind. And I know I'm not supposed to tell a lot of stories on here, but I was at something on Saturday and I was feeling something that I couldn't put my finger on while I was at this event, to the point where I was like, I just want to leave, which I'm like, this is not like me. So I went outside, I got some fresh air, and then I came back in and I sat through part 2, and it came to me. I was jealous because I was in a room full of women that were much younger than me, and they are getting exposed to the things that I am now doing at 50, 51.
I totally get that.
And they're returning home to themselves at 30 and 35.
I know.
Christine, talk about a breakthrough for me.
Yeah.
But I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, I just wanted to get in my car and go home. And then I went, oh, it's fucking jealousy, because I didn't get this at 30 and 35.
Yes.
And look what I had to navigate. And you guys are figuring it out at 30 to 35, and I'm figuring it out at 48, 49, 50, 51, and then, and continue on. But that was it. And I'm like, I woke up yesterday morning and I have a whole different perspective on life now.
Right.
But
because think of how many people haven't figured out who are 80, 85, right?
I know.
Or they go their whole life and they don't figure it out. So,
but there's this world that all of us being, in a similar age bracket did not have.
Yep. Access to. Yeah.
Does that resonate? Am I alone?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh my God. I am so glad that I had this mind-blowing moment on Saturday, because it will change the way I show up to events now. But I was
but that's your gift. That's your gift, is all those other ladies that are in their late 40s, early 50s. This is your gift, that you are that person. You are the secret ingredient. And when you say that, you're going to resonate with somebody who is also maybe 2 years behind you, maybe 6 months behind you, but I have felt that. I'm 45. Yeah. And a lot of the ladies in my community are 34. And I'm like, I'm closer to your mom's age.
Oh, I know.
And
I know. But I'm like, you guys get to you guys are getting the messages of be authentic and heal, and you've got access online. Now I'm flipping the script here, but you've got access to all of these thought leaders and storytellers and all of this, and you can pick your poison, and you can pick the person whose voice speaks to you that day, that month, that year. But you've got all of this content at your fingertips. And like, what were we doing at 30 and 35? Like, Google didn't even freaking exist. Like,
I think it was, I mean,
I don't even remember.
I don't,
I don't remember.
I went to a retreat in Costa Rica last November. And again, it was like looking around, there was women that were like 31. I'm like, one, how did they financially do this?
Get here.
And two, if I could have financially done this, I wouldn't have been here working on myself. I would have been at like, I don't know, someplace in a bar, wrecking myself, not like growing and expanding and myself. So I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. So I'm really grateful for generations to come. Like that's always a goal, right? Is for the next people to move themselves ahead a little further.
Well, it's so true. It's so true. And that moment really like solidified for me. I was like, okay, I know my role on planet Earth, but I think I even know my role even more now. I was like, okay, like, anyways, it was a really like game-changing moment for me on Saturday when I finally named where the jealousy was. And it was like, I didn't have this at 30 and 35. And you guys are going to like, you have a head start. Yeah. Like, you're not going to be as broken as us 50-year-olds. But anyways, yeah, it's just a different life. It's a different life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any closing words of wisdom to our listeners who might be pulling the covers back over their head when they think of the world of putting themselves out there?
It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be the way that I do it. It just has to be the way you do it. So, I mean, if I am happy, I am sharing on the internet. That's just the way that I am. It took me a while to even be okay with that. But for somebody that's more nervous to show up, it can just be about like taking a photo of your morning coffee and just saying, maybe it's sharing what you're grateful for. It can be a beautiful photo that inspires you. It's just little traces of you. People are just so endlessly curious. They just want connection, like you said. So it's just little bits of you, and maybe there's just a photo. Maybe it's a song that really makes you happy. It's just about connecting, and it's not about connecting on like this large grand scale. We get all messed up with the numbers from the Instagram, from all of these things, where we think 100 people is not a many people, but that is 100 human beings that have connected with your content. So if you can just do that, just kind of keep trying it out, it will help you.
Yeah. Yeah. We can certainly get lost in the numbers and the influencers. And yeah, you're reminding me of just that simple, if I post something and it resonates with just one person, then it's done, right? It doesn't have to be thousands, even if it's just one person.
No, the first thing I ever posted was, because I was so scared of all of the things, is I admitted that I was a pack mom, like a PTA mom. Because I was so embarrassed about the fact that people didn't really like the pack moms. I'd always wanted to be a pack mom. So it was just about me like writing this little blog post about the fact that like I was stepping into owning even that I was a pack mom. And the connections that I found from that were it was lovely. Like it just went deeper conversations with those few people that did actually take the time to read it. And that is what I was like hooked on immediately.
Love that. I love that. There's so many reminders. Oh my goodness. I love that this is Monday morning. This week is going to be so good in my world. I might even show back up online.
Perfect.
Okay. We're going to rapid fire question you.
Okay. Gosh. It all falls apart.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. What emoji do you use the most?
The little growing seedling.
I don't know that one.
It's very cute.
I love that. Okay, what's your favorite place on Earth?
My backyard.
I've seen your backyard online.
Really good.
It is. It looks really
it's good.
Really inviting. What do you value most in others?
Honesty.
Love that. Do you have a book recommendation or a podcast recommendation?
Yeah, definitely. So the book when I was first getting going was Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And it's just like, living boldly and creatively. And like, I didn't know I was a creative person. And I didn't know that I could just be creative for the sake of being creative. So it just gave me that permission slip that I needed.
Oh my goodness. You are creative.
I'm super creative. I didn't
even
know.
So creative. Oh my God.
I used
for the hot minute that you made me do shit. It's still in my portfolio. She knows that it's still locked in my portfolio.
Okay, so this week, this is going to be a fabulous week, and you're going to post one of those.
I got to go back to
it's your challenge.
My envelope on my desktop.
Yeah.
That I do believe is like, I think I've actually named it your name.
Okay. I'm watching. I'm looking.
I love it. Oh my gosh. What color brings you the most joy?
I love like bluey greens, like nature colors. For sure, beautiful. Nature colors. Yeah.
Love it. And if any of our listeners would like to connect with you and come on your next content cruise.
Yes.
The winter. You should do
the winter one. Okay.
A winter version.
The fall.
Yeah, where we like show up in our puffy and I'll be your assistant.
Yes. Okay. I think it's a good idea.
I think we should.
Yeah.
The blankets and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And we get Erin to do like hot chocolate. Okay,
yes,
I love it.
Yes. She has the blankets and the hot chocolate.
I know. Okay, it'll be super fun. Where can they find you?
So we are at YVR.creatives on Instagram, and I am Christine Coughlin on Instagram. Those are my main places. You'll find me, website, all of that through there.
Love it. And of course, you can follow Embrace the Squiggle. We are on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. And follow us on your favorite podcast platform so we arrive every week in your feed. Thank you, Christine. I really appreciate you joining us and having this beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
Because you're right. I think I'm really excited now about content creation.
Good. I like that for you.
I think you have revived me to go have some fun.
Yeah, just don't take it so seriously.
I know.
The rules are fake. Just put something out there that resonates with you and see who it attracts into your world.
Start writing some of my stories.
Yeah, just put it out there.
I love it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Is it time for you to add a little squiggle to your career? Join us every week to hear from another guest talk about how they embrace the squiggle.
Subscribe now and find your inspiration.